Hi, everybody. I'm Charlene Shirk, and welcome to Advertising Champions, where we speak to some of the most innovative thinkers in the advertising space. And joining us today on our panel is Daniel Ben-Nun with Adspace. Thanks for joining us today, Daniel.
My pleasure.
And we've got Frank Demming with Local Business Marketing Solutions and Stefanie Gonnella with Closed Loop. Appreciate y'all making the time to be here today.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
Awesome. All right. So, Daniel, let's start with you. Let's put you in the hot seat. What is the best tip that you would give to folks when it comes to advertising?
If we're talking about online advertising, I would definitely say start with TikTok. TikTok has a lot of real estate left open. Some of the other marketing channels that we've been most accustomed to in the online space, including Google and Facebook, are starting to get a little bit super saturated, whereas TikTok has a lot of open real estate left for people to grab. So I would definitely focus my marketing efforts, my marketing spend on some of the newer ad channels, including TikTok and Snapchat, to mention two of them.
All right, Frank, what about you? I'm asking you, what's your best tip when it comes to advertising?
I always tell my new clients, we got to go with omni-channel. We got to look where your specific audience is and pick 3 of those channels where we can hit them hard. That's my best tip.
All right. And Stefanie, how about you? What's your best tip?
Yeah, I think it's extremely important to ensure that you're focusing on all aspects of the consumer journey and the purchase path. So making sure you have adequate funding and prospecting, looking at upper funnel, mid funnel, and lower funnel, and just ensuring that you're not just looking at the last click, but really all those different touch points and all of the different media aspects that really hit all of those areas.
All right, and Stefanie, I'm going to stay with you. So in trying to accomplish all of those things and all of those multi-steps, you know clients want to get started immediately. The minute they sign that contract, they want to get up and go. But it sounds like you're saying, look, you got to create a foundation. What's your biggest challenge when trying to convince your clients to do what you know is best for them?
Yeah, I mean, the hardest sell for me has really been getting clients to invest in upper funnel media. So a lot of clients are really focused on driving sales and driving return and seeing those ROI goals hit, and prospecting on its own doesn't really equate to a positive return. So I like to show visual examples of how having prospecting media in market really helps fill our audience pools in our retargeting efforts. And over time, over like a 3, 4, 5-month period, we start to see the audience size increase, and that is really appealing to clients. And then we start to see our retargeting performance improve and our revenue numbers and return numbers increase. And so clients then increase investment in prospecting.
Yep. Stefanie, ROI is definitely king. So Frank, I'm going to ask you, where do you feel that you get, what tactic do you use? Do you feel like you're going to get that immediate ROI so the client sees some results so then you can go and do the rest of the stuff you need to do for them?
I always start with media buying, going directly with pay-per-click, pay-per-click advertising, whether it be on LinkedIn, whether it be on Facebook, Instagram, even TikTok, whatever channel that I think is best to start with, that's where I go, media buying.
All right, Daniel, what's your secret sauce?
You know, I really love what Stefanie said in terms of focusing on the entire funnel and not neglecting top, mid, and bottom funnel. What I really do at Adspace is what we call the 5 pillars of e-commerce. It's focusing on the 5 key elements that every e-commerce brand needs to do correctly in order to scale and achieve growth. Those 5 pillars are product market fit, site experience, acquisition, lifecycle retention, and reporting and analytics. So whenever we work with a client, we always make sure to give them an audit and assessment on all 5 of those pillars. We rank them from 1 out of 10 on how well they're doing on those 5 metrics. And then based on that ranking, we're able to clearly assess and fix what is going wrong in their funnel, what is going wrong in their marketing strategy, and then implement that into their overall marketing campaigns.
And Daniel, I want to stay with you. You know, there's a lot of trend right now towards the streaming television, the CTV. How is that impacting your advertising strategies?
Yeah, it's a great question. To be honest, most of my advertisers are much more focused on the digital ad channels that involve kind of search and social. So while we do have clients that are very interested in streaming, I know for a fact that a lot of the streaming networks are starting to see a lot more ad buying and a lot more media buying across their networks. But for the sake of D2C e-commerce brands, which is where we really specialize at my agency, we tend to focus more on paid social as the top funnel that we see drives the best results on both top funnel and bottom funnel. What I've seen historically are that the streaming networks, including YouTube, Hulu, and the other kind of streaming networks, they tend to be very top funnel, which is good for certain clients, but they tend to not have the cost per action and the engagement that we would want to see from our ad campaigns. And so we tend to focus on the social channels as being the channels that work well for our clients. But of course, that differs per industry, per vertical, and a lot of other factors.
And Stefanie, since Daniel brought up pillars and you mentioned, in funnels, you've got to work all your funnels. What is CTV impacting? How is that impacting your advertising strategies?
Yeah, so we at my agency Closed Loop, we actually focus primarily on upper funnel, the top of funnel media. So we do invest in CTV. We work heavily with partners like Hulu, and it does really well for us from an upper funnel perspective, with really generating that awareness and buzz and kind of being like an educational tool. Native is also great as well. We do a lot of streaming with partners like Pandora and Spotify. Social is also key for us as well. So really just having that healthy mix consistently in market.
And what do you think it does for the client's morale to see their ad, their product on a Hulu streaming channel? Anybody want to? Stefanie, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's really like gained a lot of traction, I think, especially with COVID, being stuck in your house. It's really gained like notoriety and visibility and just that importance there of being in that space, because people spend a lot more time on their connected TV devices. So clients really like that, having that visibility and exposure there.
Yeah, because you got to keep them engaged. You got to keep them, they got to feel like they're winning all the time. They got to feel like they're constantly winning, because waiting for results, I know clients struggle with that because they want it to happen right away. So, Frank, let me ask you, what do you think is the biggest obstacle to becoming a successful advertiser?
The biggest obstacle that we have found has been dealing with the non-equipped agencies, because a lot of times when people come to us, they have already tried this a gazillion times, and they say, well, what makes you different? So we have to have the tools in place and demonstrate what makes us different and show us the results. So that's been the biggest obstacle, is it's getting over that hurdle of not convincing, but showing them that we are different.
And Daniel, what about you? What do you think is the biggest obstacle to becoming a successful advertiser?
I think in this day and age, we need to have more of a focus on analytics. The whole kind of trend of big data and the whole trend of using data to make better decisions consistently on the marketing side is something that has only really come up in the last 20 years for advertising. Before that, it was very hard to gauge engagement, click-through rates, all of these kind of numbers that were very difficult from magazine advertising, newspaper advertising, television, radio, billboards. They were almost impossible to calculate those numbers through those advertising channels. Now that digital has come and is now by far the largest channel of advertising for all companies across the world, we have just a whole slew of data that we can use to compile much more in-depth metrics, statistics, and analytics. And by correctly managing that data, correctly collecting that data, compiling it, sorting it, and understanding it, we have the ability to make much better marketing decisions, day on day. And so that's what I see as the major trend in advertising over the next 2 decades, is utilizing this data more effectively to make better advertising decisions for our clients.
All right. Well, guys, it's been great to spend this time to chat with you. Daniel with Adspace, Frank, Local Business Marketing Solutions, and Stefanie with Closed Loop. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today on Advertising Champions. And folks, that's going to do it for this episode, and we look forward to learning something new with you next time.